What if I told you that something happened to my sister? Something very mysterious, strange, and creepy that defied all laws of science. There was no logical, rational explanation as to what happened. It sounded like it came out from a horror Hollywood movie that involves voodoo dolls, black magic, and sorcery. Except it was not a work of fiction. It was real, and I experienced it. Before I tell you this story, I think we should clear something up, because what we think we know about voodoo dolls might just be misconceptions and prejudice, something we caught up from a Hollywood movie. Now, voodoo dolls didn't come from a dark corner of Hollywood movies. They came from Vodun, a traditional religion practiced along the Gulf of Guinea, particularly within the countries of Eastern Ghana and Western Nigeria. Now, Vodun is a deeply spiritual system born in Africa, and it was carried across the Atlantic by enslaved Africans, that is, people who were ancestors to the modern day Afro-Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, and Afro-Latinos and Latinas. And this culture reshaped the history of places like Haiti, New Orleans, Cuba, and even Brazil to some extent. Now, in Voodoo, the traditions use these dolls not necessarily to harm people, but to pray and to grant healing to people. Although most Voodoo practitioners admit that they are both positive people who use their knowledge of Voodoo to cause good to happen to people, like healing, blessings, and there are other people who also use their powers for negative. So that's just to give you some clarity that not all voodoo priests are good and not all are bad. There are those who use their power for evil, those who use it for good. Imagine the doll as a symbolic link, a spiritual bridge between the physical world and the unseen, the metaphysical, the spiritual. Practitioners might use dolls to focus the energy, to guide healing toward a person in pain, or to pray for someone who is far away. It is ancestral science, ancient African psychology, and spirituality. But Hollywood saw something different. They turned voodoo into something terrifying. Pins, blood, screams, torture, laying a curse on someone. It was never about healing anymore. It was about control, and fear sells tickets. For example, many people like stories about true crime, about cults, about spirituality, and that's what Hollywood did. And then suddenly the world began to fear what it never understood. Now I promise to tell you a story, a real one. Now, my sister had a broken arm while she was playing with her peers back in high school. And in Nigeria, most of us do not trust modern medical practitioners when it comes to matters pertaining to broken arms, broken limbs, or broken bone in general, fractures, splinters, and all of that. Because the popular belief is that modern medical practitioners are not suited for treating broken arms or bones of any sort. And so we took her to a traditional priest, a priest of the Ogun deity, one of the many deities of the Yoruba pantheon. And what happened next was something I will never and have never forgotten. The healer took a live chicken and then he broke the arm of the chicken. My sister and the chicken screamed simultaneously, like there was something connecting them together at that instant. And then we realized my sister was feeling the pain at that very instant. It was as if her arm was broken all over again. The pain came crushing into her arm. But this happened without anyone touching her. Remember, the priest only broke the arm of the chicken without touching her own arm. But then he laughed and then began massaging the wing of the chicken, speaking softly in a language older than human memory itself. And over the next few days, the chicken healed. And surprisingly, so did my sister's arm. Call it voodoo, call it belief, or call it coincidence. But maybe, just maybe, what the world calls superstition is someone else's science, someone else's sacred and ultimate truth. My sister is alive and her arm is doing well without any occasional pain, and yet no one can explain how. No one can give any form of concrete, rational, logical explanation to what happened that day between the chicken's wing and my sister's arm. But the answer, I believe, lies in the knowledge the world has long tried to forget. Not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some are meant to just be respected. If you found the story powerful, educational, or creepy, feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share with others so that they can learn a little bit about African culture, history, not just Africa, but also the entire world. Thank you, and see you in our next video. Bye bye.